Well, good morning. When I woke up this morning, about 5:30, there were a couple of guys in the shelter just a short distance away. And initially they were sleeping, and I didn't want to disturb them, but even after they got up and started moving around, I was hesitant to be the guy talking to himself in the woods, so I didn't film this morning. Nothing unusual happened. Made cocoa again and granola, and that was all good. Started walking a little after 7. Those guys are headed up, which is the smart direction to go if you're going to be on this trail. So maybe I'll see them again later as I circle around the Baldface Circle Trail. We're now, I hope you can see, at the intersection with a side trail to Chandler Gorge. Not supposed to have a lot of water in it, but it's not a long way, so we'll go take a look. It's a little loop trail, so we'll loop around and come back to the main trail in a bit. So we've come about 1.6 miles so far today. It's about 10 minutes of 8 now. Okay, the loop is complete, and I think that was worthwhile. Well, I did spend 20 minutes doing that. What with the filming and all, although there wasn't that much. This area in general does seem conducive to hammock camping. The upper section of the trail, before it descended into the gorge, was a nice open, deciduous forest. Not a lot of undergrowth, or moderate undergrowth. I think it would be not too hard to find a hammock spot in there. And here at the southern junction, we have a piney woods, which also doesn't have a lot of overgrowth in it. So I think there's possibilities in there as well. But we're back to the main trail, and just a little ways down, there's another trail junction. We'll make note of that. Okay, so after about a 10-minute walk, we've arrived at the junction with the Slippery Brook Trail. The Slippery Brook Trail could be part of a route that bypasses the wicked descent off South Baldface. So, worth considering. We've come 1.6 from the shelter, and it's about 0.2 of a mile to where the Circle Trail circles. And if you wanted to get out to the trailhead, it'd be 0.9 from here or 0.7 from the Circle Trail junction. Well, this is another area that's nice and open and probably suitable for, well, not only hammocks, but probably tents as well, and perhaps even you can get far enough off the trail to do it legally. It occurs to me that I haven't shown you the map since we left the car. I had a thought that I could do it on the shelter floor in the morning, but of course we had those other pesky hikers there, so I'll try to do it now. Okay, so we started at the Bog Brook parking area in the middle of nowhere, and went up the Bog Brook Trail, as you probably recall, to Perkins Notch, and then up the Rainbow Trail to Carter Dome, down the Black Angel Trail to the Wild River, camped there, and continuing on the Black Angel Trail to Rim Junction, and well, and that other Blue Brook campsite was in that area. And then we started south on the Rim Ridge Trail or something like that. Oh no, Meander Ridge Trail, I recall. This is two sections of the map taped together, so some things were lost. And that was mostly a ridge walk. And then we went over north Baldface and south Baldface, and then that descent to the shelter, and then continued on this morning. And this is that little loop trail for the gorge, and now we're down here where the Slippery Brook Trail comes in. So the plan is to continue down to the junction, as I said, and then start climbing. We're going to take leave the Baldface Circle Trail to take the Eagle Cascade link, and then the Bicknell Trail, and then backtrack a little on the Circle Trail, pick up Eagle Link Trail, back down to the Wild River, and continue on, and eventually find a place to camp. There is a campground or a campsite right up about here, which the Perkins Notch campsite, held in low repute in general. So that's what we've done and what we're going to do for the rest of today. We have arrived at the Baldface Circle Trail junction, where the Baldface Circle Trail goes that way and that way. It is also the location of a side trail to Emerald Pool. And I don't know how far it is, but we're going to go check it out. So again, that was worth the small side trip. I believe that river or brook is the Charles Brook. And obviously it's there and available as a water source as well. And if that ever goes dry, you've got trouble. You wouldn't be out here hiking, I'm sure. So the next junction is with the Bicknell Ridge Trail, 7/10 of a mile, book time 29 minutes. It is a lovely day. I should say last night the wind continued to blow well past midnight. 2 a.m. it was still howling. So it let up sometime in the wee hours. The tarp did a very good job set up down low with the doors closed, so I rarely felt even a little draft of the breeze and stayed nice and toasty. I don't think it got down to 44 degrees, or if it did, it was early and then warmed up again when maybe some front passed through or something. And I don't know what temperature is now, but it's the warmest I think it's been on the trip, so we're probably pushing 70. So we may have to lose the hat at some point. It gets too steamy. All right, as I said, half an hour to the Bicknell Ridge Trail. Half an hour from when, you may ask? And so I'll tell you. It's just a minute or so shy of 9 o'clock. We've reached the junction with the Bicknell Ridge Trail. And we will be taking some of the Bicknell Ridge Trail, but not from here. We're going to continue on the Baldface Circle Trail, another 7/10, 35 minutes, until we reach the Cascade Link Trail. So we have reached the junction with the Eagle Cascade Link Trail, which we're going to take. and will take us to Eagle Cascade, which is why we chose this route, and eventually link up with the Bicknell Ridge Trail, and then continue on from there. 0.7 of a mile, elevation gain 621 feet, estimated time 41 minutes. It's about 10 of 10 now. The Baldface Circle Trail from the junction down at the bottom to about 10 minutes past the junction with the Bicknell Ridge Trail we passed a while ago. The ascent is pretty moderate, and the forest is reasonably open. The undergrowth isn't too thick. So really anywhere along there, I think the possibility for a stealth hammock site is pretty good. And of course the Charles Brook is not too far away as a water source. So something to keep in mind. Here we are, Eagle Cascade. It's worth a little short hike off the main trail. There's no sign, so you can hear the falls, and the side trail is pretty clear, but there's no sign for it. And it's very nice, especially with the sunlight. We've arrived at the junction with the Bicknell Ridge Trail after a moderate ascent. Well, it was steep in places, but I'm okay. Well, yeah, you might be able to see the sign behind me, not read it, but you know everything it says. So we have a nice little view here, and we can see some of what we did yesterday. So that is North Baldface, and the traverse to South Baldface, and then that rocky thing is the descent we made off South Baldface. Probably towards the left-hand edge of that, I'm gonna guess. And somewhere down in that knoll, I think, is that the right term? Anyway, that dip, I think the shelter's right in there someplace. So we went around the far side of that and down into there, and then back up to where we are now. Certainly is a world of difference without the wind roaring. It's actually pleasant up here. It's beyond pleasant. It's damn nice. Finest kind. So I was so caught up in where we are, I forgot to think about where we're going. We're going to follow the Bicknell Ridge Trail here up to, it'll rejoin the Baldface Circle Trail in a little over a mile, which is supposed to take us a little over an hour. Mostly over open ledges, with warnings that the trail may be difficult to follow in places, so we'll watch for that. Interesting, the sign early on when we were in the wilderness, the signs just said U.S. Forest Service, and then when we got out of the wilderness they said both U.S. Forest Service and AMC, Appalachian Mountain Club. Now they say U.S. Forest Service and CTA, and I have no idea what CTA is. We can guess that TA might be Trail Authority, but what would C be? No idea. Anyway, still enjoying the weather, and hopefully we'll get some views over to the west, Carter, Mariah, and Presidential Range when we get up top. were here yesterday, and there's North Baldface, and in the near range is pretty sure Carter Dome is the highest looking one to me anyway, and to the right of it is probably Mount Height. To the left of it is that semi-open east peak of Carter that we went over 2 days ago. And actually then framed between the east peak and Carter Dome proper is, I'm pretty sure, Mount Washington. And it sure is clear out there today. The Carter Moriah range. I can't name the peaks beyond that. There's a lot of them though. Look at all that. It's just gorgeous. So there's some rocks beyond the near scrub, and well, I'm not sure, maybe that is near scrub. But that's the direction we're going, over to Eagle Crag, I believe it was called. About 2/10 backtracking over a trail we did yesterday. What a difference a day can make. So, we're looking down into the Wild River Wilderness area. I'm not sure we're going to get a better view of it, so we'll look now. This only became a protected wilderness area in 2006, so that's only about 8 years. Not sure exactly why they chose to do that, but they did. So now it's even more protected than being a national forest. So this area was, like most of the whites, pretty extensively logged in the late 1800s, but I guess there was enough left to catch fire and burn in 1903, and that much took care of the rest of it. And the timber companies lost interest and sold it to the government a few years after that. I forget the year exactly. So we're headed down in that general direction. Well, perhaps you remember seeing the sign yesterday as well. We're back up on Eagle Crag. North Baldface behind me. And we're going to be taking the Eagle Link Trail, if we can find it. I think it goes down, well, down there, not down over there, based on the way the sign's pointing. But I think first we'll have some lunch. Lunch is over. It's about 5 after noon, and we need to go down the Eagle Link Trail, about 2.7 miles down to the river, and it's supposed to take about an hour and a half. Seems a shame to leave this ridge, doesn't it? Can't stay here forever, though. Oh well. We're about halfway down Eagle Link, I think. It's about 45 minutes in, so timing's about right. I probably should explain about the book time thing I keep mentioning. AMC trail guides always have an estimated time between any 2 points where they've given a distance. They'll give a time as well. And the time is based on a formula I read in their book somewhere in the details. And it's basically 2 miles an hour plus an allowance, I don't remember exactly what it is, for the elevation gain on the trail. And that's it. And so there's no allowance for going downhill at all. They just apply the formula for every section of trail. They don't try to fudge it and say, well, I know that's harder, so it's going to take long. They don't do that. So whatever the formula says for a section of trail, that's what goes in the book. And so it's a rough guide, and maybe if you knew something about the trail, you could apply your own fudge factor, but that'd be just guesswork too. So anyway, I just keep mentioning it because it's there and it's data, and I like to try to beat it because I'm anal. But it's usually pretty close either way, one way or the other. So the trail was very rugged up top. You had to think about every footfall and use the poles a lot. It seems to be getting a lot easier, so hopefully that will keep up. Here's a game that I like to play on the trail. I have the Bush Buddy, of course, and sorry that I haven't used it yet, and hopefully tonight I will. But I had another wood-burning stove years ago, a Sierra Zip stove that I heavily modified to cut down on the weight. I started this game then, and it's the Find the Birch Bark on the Trail game. I have some birch bark from home, but I don't like to use it. It's kind of cheating. So we look for birch bark along the trail. It's getting into the afternoon, so it's a good time to look. And well, here's a birch tree behind me, and I have a rule that I don't take it off of live trees, but they can be standing trees. But this one is quite dead. And it's got a lot of loose birch bark on there. So I'll peel a little off and stash it. Save it for tonight. So we have arrived at the Wild River Trail, and I guess that was the Wild River I crossed back there. Well, it's not what it is further downstream, that's for sure. So we have 2.2 miles to the Perkins Notch. It says shelter there, but there's no shelter anymore. Perkins Notch tent site, where we'll probably be staying. We've reached the intersection with the East Branch Trail. I don't think I noted that at the last point we were at, but it means it's 0.7 of a mile from this point to Perkins Notch campsite. And we're going to cross the river twice, and the second time is actually the water source for the campsite. So we'll probably stop there and get some water and carry out the 0.3 of a mile to the campsite. Hammock sites are not exactly evident in this area to me. It's about 20 of 3. So at about 8 minutes after 8, we have arrived at the Perkins Notch tent site. Well, and there's a sign here saying the shelter, tent platforms, and yada yada has been removed. But there's absolutely no sign or map or anything to indicate where's what's left. And well, it only took me a minute, but if you're here, I'll give you a hint. It's just to the right. It's up there. A little clue would have helped. Excuse my fingers. So when you walk in the access trail, you have to walk back a ways, and you find 3 tent pads pretty close together. So there's number 1, I'm going to call it, because it's the one you come to first. And it looks best suited to a hammock, which is why my pack is sitting here. And my water is over there. And then you come back and it gets more open and sunny, which I'm not looking for today, or at least not at the moment. And you have tent pad 2, which is a big one. And tent pad 3. So I think Syntax 77 and his friend were in this area. At the time that video was made, there was remnants of the shelter here, some roofing, but that seems to be all gone now. for the better, I'm sure. So we do have a small fire pit. Well, the closest thing I've seen to a bench in the wilderness. That's probably violates the rules. Anyway, so we'll set up the hammock here in this nice shady area and try to recuperate. We need some recuperation. In the hammock. I haven't done breakfast from the hammock, and maybe this isn't the right hammock for this type of activity anyway. I need to figure out something for neck support or head support. I could probably do that. Anyway, but I'm in recovery mode from the hammock. We have some water with crystal light, and it always seems to hit the spot, something like that. Precious. Recovering the precious bodily fluids. So, as I said earlier, I'm in Perkins Notch tent site, and everything I know about this tent site I learned from two sources. One is from a hiking video done by Syntax 77. If you're not familiar with him, you could go to my YouTube page and find a link to him, or you could just search on YouTube for Syntax 77. There can't be too many of those. So he does hiking videos, oftentimes in the whites, and he has an epic disaster of a hiking video. I'm not sure I would have published it if all of this had happened to me. But he lives apparently in the Philadelphia area. Drove up with a friend whose name, unfortunately, I don't remember, which is unfortunate since he has a gun. And apparently the drive up was horrible. And when they get here, they're surprised to find that the access, the campground they wanted to get to, the road to it has been closed due to damage from Hurricane Irene, so that adds 5 miles to their hike. I think that's 5 miles each way. Plus it's raining, cats and dogs off and on. And amazingly, the camera he had was not waterproof, which limited their ability to film, but still got it enough to get the sense of the trip. They ended up taking the wrong trail and end up Black Angel Trail when they hadn't intended to. Which put them on a really long loop up Black Angel, down Rainbow, to finally come to here after a very long day in the rain, only to find, much to their surprise, that the shelter had been torn down, and they found remnants of it, which no longer appear to be here. So they set up their tent. Fortunately, they had a tent, thank God, on one of the tent pads here. And it rains all night, and they don't look like they're still having fun in the morning and whatnot. So I learned about Perkins Notch tent site first from them, and then I did another search for trip reports for Wild River area, and found a report from some guys who did trips similar to mine. They didn't go over the Baldfaces, or at least didn't go down and back up, but they came down and came here, and they didn't like it here either. They complained that the tent pads were designed to collect water, which in my experience is true of all tent pads. And they explained how they tried to get water by following some trail down to No Ketchum Pond, which is behind me, that's why I'm pointing that way, which is apparently a bog of a trail in itself. It was an unpleasant experience. Now, my trail guide says that the water source for this is the last crossing of the Wild River 3/10 of a mile in, so that's where I got water, and there was nothing to it. It's nice and deep and fast flowing. I did have to carry the water 3/10 of a mile to get here, but that really wasn't that big of a deal. And anyway, so kind of the point of all this is I'm actually finding it rather pleasant here. So if you get here and the weather's nice, and you're not expecting a shelter that's not here, and you get water at the place that's more convenient to get water, I can recommend Perkins Notch tent site. 3 or 4 stars. So it occurred to me in thinking back to the comments I had a little while ago about Syntax 77 and his disastrous hike. That some people might think that all of that was an attempt to poke fun at him, Sean, I'm pretty sure his name is, and his buddy, and that is, I want to say, definitely not the case. They got through something I probably wouldn't have. They probably would have found me dead on the side of the trail if I had to go through what they did. But aside from that specific case, I watch his videos because they're well done and I learn from them, and I would recommend them to you as well. And if you're out there backpacking and you expect every trip to go exactly as planned, well, then you probably need to find a new hobby, because usually something goes out of kilter. Anyway, I just wanted to be clear on that. So, true to my word, I do have dinner on the bush, buddy. Seems to be burning away well. I don't feel qualified to give lessons at this point. This is the second time I've run the stove, but so far so good. Dinner tonight is Mountain House spaghetti with meat sauce. Okay, so spaghetti and meat sauce. You know, I think I might have burned my cozy a little bit by trying to put the pot right in it, straight off the bush buddy. Maybe that shouldn't be done. Anyway, looks pretty good. I'll let you know how I like it. So spaghetti with meat sauce. Well, I ate it all, but I didn't really care for the sauce all that much. Too much like Chef Boyardee. Maybe to some people that's a plus. So I'll rate it a little below other stuff I've had lately. So I haven't turned my Kindle on yet. I got changed into my jammies. Capilene 2, I think, from Patagonia. Yeah, it must be 2. Tops and bottoms. But I just wanted to say quickly that there are a few things that I think that give me greater pleasure than being here in my hammock. The dream hammock roaming gnome with the integrated bug net all zipped up and seeing a mosquito right out there trying to get in. That probably won't focus. I just like laughing at them. I'm cruel that way. I think that's it for tonight. Tomorrow I hope to tell you how far we've been walking each day. You have no idea, do you?